حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس وجدها تغرب في عين حميئة ووجد عندها قوما قلنا يا ذا القرنين إما أن تعذب وإما أن تتخذ فيهم حسنا. Suratul-Kahfi, Surah number 18, Ayat number 86. This verse is interesting and difficult at the same time. Let's proceed. And before we proceed, because the first word is hatta, which means until, we need to connect it to the previous verse. Otherwise, a sentence cannot start with until. So the previous verse, what was it? And we'll not give the entire translation. I mean, we'll give the translation, but we'll not go through the entire explanation and discussion once again. We'll just give you the translation. So then he followed away. That's it. So then he followed away until when he reached, and then the verse continues. Now it makes sense. It's continuous and it makes sense. So we'll jump into this verse, this ayat. Hatta, until, idha balaga, when he reached, maghrib ash-shamsi. Now, before we proceed, this part of the translation, this part of the ayah, has been a source of much criticism towards Islam, especially by the non-Muslim critics. So, and that is possible because we have given them the opportunity to criticize Islam. How? Not me per se, but the translators, the way they have translated it, opens up the opportunity to criticism. And then if you are criticized, it is, I mean, perfectly okay. I mean, in the sense, they are entitled to criticize if they find any loopholes. There is no criticism in the text. There cannot be. It's perfect word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we'll describe that Arabic part as well. But the way this part of the sentence has been translated is faulty, it's erroneous, and we'll have to rectify that to make sense of what is mentioned over here. And we'll not stretch, we'll not go beat around the bush. No, we'll straight away decipher from the text itself, translate from the text itself what should have been the correct translation. But before that, to appreciate that, we'll give you the wrong translation, the representative translation, which the scholars or translators have translated it as. And I'll explain to you why that opens up the opportunity to criticize the Quran, and they have done that. And then if the correct translation were to be in place, then there is no possibility of any criticism. Well, once again, you might say that all the translators have translated incorrectly. Who are you to translate it correctly? I don't want to go into all those nonsensical debates. I don't have time for you. What I'm interested in is the Arabic text. And through that Arabic text, it is an attempt to explain or to render it in the English language. I'm not debating about the translation of the English language at all. Okay. Maghrib ash-Shamsa, the way it has been translated is the setting place of the sun. Until when he reached the setting place of the sun, what happened? I mean, I'm continuing with the representative translation, not my translation. Wajadaha. He found her because the sun is considered feminine in the Arabic language. You can say he found it, that's all right. He found it, taghrubu, setting, she set or setting, fi aynin hamiyatin, setting in a pool of muddy water. So what is the opportunity now? They say, oh, the Quran, scientific error. The Quran suggests that the sun sets in a pool of muddy water. No, that's not what it says. Sorry. If you do not understand, that's your fault. Irrespective of whether irrespective of the cause, it is you're reading through translation and hence you came to a wrong conclusion. Irrespective of that, you learn Arabic, you find out what it says. If you want, I'll help you out. So the word now why is that wrong? Why is that wrong? At multiple levels. What does the word maghriba mean? Maghriba is an ism, and it's an ism zorf. An ism zorf can mean both a place or a time. What can it mean? It can mean a place or a time. It can mean both. What it means in this, we have to figure that out. So what I'm saying is, it did not be translated by default as the setting place of the sun. That's not the default translation. We'll have to figure that out. What is or what should be the correct translation? It comes from the word gharaba, which means to set or he set. Okay, so maghriba is the ism zarf, gharaba obviously is the verb, fi'l, and maghriba is the ism zarf specifically, the setting place or setting time of the sun, because Shamsi is there, the sun, and sin is the of a construct, the of will come in between, generally speaking. So if we are to not take the place but time, how would it, how would it pan out in terms of translation? The setting time of the sun. Is it possible that Zulkarnain reached there at the time of sunset? It's possible. Because of that, if he did not reach at the time of sunset, would he see the sunset? No. So he reached at the time of sunset is fine. Okay. Now, so already we are walking towards the correct translation. So by default, that everyone has translated the setting place of the sun need not be the translation. It need not necessarily be the translation. The translation might well be the setting time of the sun. Okay. And where was he walking? He was walking westwards. That's why he reached and he saw whatever he saw, the sunset. And we see the sunset. If we are in a beach, we can see the sunset, we can see the sunrise, depending on which coast we are looking at. Fine. So far, so good. Wajadaha. Okay. So now let us go back to the correct translation. So Dhul-Qarnayn al-Islam, what do we know about him? Okay, we have not yet read the entire narrative, the historical narrative as is mentioned in the Quran. Fine, but we all know the story, isn't it? He was meticulous in his planning. He was, yeah. If anything, he was meticulous. He had the full range of planning with him. I'm just forgetting a word. Anyway. So his execution, his planning, his accuracy, his precision. So he built the wall, right? So all of these is very, very precise, is very, very meticulous. So we'll come to the point. So is it possible that he had a specific destination in mind and he planned it that way that he should reach that place at the time of sunset? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. And I say that is what happened. So now the translation becomes something like this. He reached the place of his intended destination at the time of sunset. Okay. Wajadaha. This part is simple then. He found the sun. It references the sun, right? Tagurubu. As it appeared to him to be setting, because when we see the sunset, it appears to us to be setting. We have used the word setting, tagurubu, setting. But as it appeared to him to be setting, fi, into, ainin is, what should I say, a water body, and hamiyatin is dark, a dark water body. That's Mawsusifa, noun adjective, but in English we translate the adjective first. So into a dark water body, into a black water body. We'll continue the first iteration, then we'll come back. Wajadaha indaha. Sorry, wajada indaha. And he found near, what should I say, near it. Now, why is it referenced as her or it? Because ainin is also feminine in the Arabic language. A water body, ainin, is feminine in the Arabic language. So it has to be referenced by the pronoun her and not, it does not exist in the Arabic language. It's either near it, near him, near her, like that. So near it, the word it does not exist. So it has to be either referenced by near him or near her. So because ainin is feminine in the Arabic language, so in the ha is used, near her. Near it is fine. So instead of translating this, and he found near it qawman, a community, we said, and he found in its vicinity a community. That's more natural in the English language. And okay, I think, I'm not sure, qawm, the word qawm, the word community in the English language is actually derived from the word qawm in the Arabic. Qawm, community. Okay. Qulna, we said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and it's a royal plural. It does not mean Allah is plural. He is singular. He is ahad, al-ahad. So we said, Ya dhal qarnaini, O dhul qarnain. I mean, in the first verse of this historical narrative, verse number 83, it says, we are salunaka an dhil qarnain. So we have seen the word dhil qarnain in the jar status, and we have now seen the word dhal qarnain. But the actual name, or the title rather, of Dhul Qarnain al-Islam is Dhul Qarnain. Why is it in the nasab status over here? Is because the presence of the word ya. When you call someone, when you refer to someone, you use ya in the Arabic language, and that makes the next ism nasab. Ya Dhul Qarnaini. Anyway, but we translated it as O Dhul Qarnain, which is the rafa or the default status. In the English language, we do that. In the Arabic language that exists, but it happens to be that the place where this word appears, either it is forced into a jar status or a nasab status. It's not in the rafa or the default status. Okay. We said, O Dhul Qarnain. The last part, oh, it's so, I mean, winded. Not really winded, but it's a challenge to translate this part. You can see the word imma, and you can see the word wa imma. What does it mean? When imma and wa imma appears in a sentence, what it essentially means is either or. You understand either or in the English language? So the way to represent either or in Arabic is imma wa imma. So imma, so let's read ahead a little bit. An tu'azziba. An is that, tu'azziba, you punish. Either that you punish or to punish. Now, why is it so difficult? Because if you say, O Dhul Qarnain, either to punish or either that you punish, it doesn't flow naturally. So the intent is, O Dhul Qarnain, you have the authority. Who gave him the authority? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself gave him the authority. You have the authority to, because the word an appears twice, I'm just preponing it before either. Or we could have maintained the translation. We would have to use the word either, I mean, to twice, either to punish or to treat them. But in English, we are preponing so that we can use the word to once. All of these are fine, because imma and imma, the word imma is repeated. It's not or and or. So English doesn't work like that. So English has its own mechanisms. Arabic has its own mechanisms. You have the authority to either punish, to azziba. The object is not mentioned actually, and that's interesting, and there is a reason why it's not mentioned. It's basically either to punish them, but that is not explicit. That is not made explicit, and there is a reason why. Wa imma, or an tattakiza, or either you can say to take them or that you take them. So, or in this context, or treat them, treat fihim, not in them, but treat them, because in is not really required. And we'll come to all of these points why this construct actually exists. Husnan. What is husnan? With beautiful and good conduct. With beautiful, husnan means beautiful, it means good, so with beautiful and good conduct. If we read the translation after smoothening it out to represent the correct intended translation, which captures the Arabic text to its intended nuance, subtlety and connotation, it sounds much better. Obviously, we cannot capture the beauty of the Arabic itself, but we have made an attempt to capture the intended meaning at least. Until when he reached the place of his, so let's prepone. So then he followed away until when he reached the place of his intended destination at the time of sunset. He found the sun as it appeared to him to be setting into a dark water body, and he found in its vicinity a community. We said, "O Dhul-Qarnain, you have the authority to either punish or treat them with beautiful and good conduct." Now, the complexity is not over. The complexity will just begin now. So, azaba, the verb form from which azaba, yu'azzibu, tu'azzibu, an tu'azziba. So the present future form. So the family too is used, and there is a shadda over the middle letter, zal in this case, right? What does it essentially mean? This family essentially means, so the basic meaning is to punish. That's fine. But when this family occurs, it has additional connotations and implications. Arabic, the sarf, actually, the morphology actually is a beautiful way to represent a whole lot of things in a very terse manner, in a very small manner. With less usage of words, you can convey a lot. So essentially it means it is, so the family number 2, it means that there is a process involved and it takes time. So basically the instruction to Dhul-Qarnain, why I said this verse is so complicated, is the English translation, we can render it in a real quick time and that's done, but that's not what it is trying to convey. The full meaning is not just captured, the full meaning is not, it's not possible to capture just by a superficial translation. You need to explain that. So you have the authority to either punish, but even if you punish them, know that you should give them a fair trial. It should be through a process. It should take time. The accused should be given the opportunity to defend himself or herself. Do you get the beauty? The sanctity of the court proceedings must be honored. How beautiful. It is not random. You cannot just punish anyone and everyone. And that is why the object is not even present. The intent is not in the sense of a vengeance. Intent is not in the sense of a revenge, that I have overpowered you. I have overtaken your area. I have won over this land. The intent is not that. And look at the world, what is happening around the world today. Do you now appreciate what Dhul-Qarnain alayhi salam did? And obviously he was blessed. As I said, reflect for a while before we proceed. You have the authority to either punish, and the object is deliberately kept missing. Him was there in the second part, but in the first part the him is deliberately missing. Him in the sense home, which is the attached pronoun, which is them. It's deliberately missing. So the focus is not there. The focus is on the process itself, in a fair trial itself. Do you appreciate that now? And then it proceeds, wa imma. Or, and I mean, okay, why is fihim there? We need to understand tattakhiza. Ittakhaza yattakhizu and antattakhizu. So ittakhaza yattakhizu, tattakhizu, and unforced to nasab status antattakhiza. So if you literally try to go by that translation, to take in them goodness. You understand why the word fee is required? Now, a better way to represent that happens to be to treat them in the English language. And when you use the word treat, you don't read the word in. You don't need the word in. Or treat them. Now, there is an important aspect to it as well. Complicated again. Akhaza is the normal form of the verb. Why is ittakhaza form used? I think it's a verb form 8 if I'm not mistaken. I'm referring to the correct family. I'm just forgetting the number because the numbers were not present at that time. The numbers were later introduced by the academics who were non-Arabs basically for the ease of conversation and ease of documentation in dictionary, etc. Anyway, so I think it's number 8, family verb form 8, but I'm I may be mistaken over there. But this form, ittakaza form, ifta'ala form, has exaggeration, has hyperbole. So what is hyperbole, exaggeration doing over here? Treat them. Treat them. Why treat them? Because you have the authority. If they recognize your authority, and if maybe they have committed sins and crimes previously, if they repent from that and acknowledge your authority, which by the way comes from me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? It's a we said, O Zulkarnain, the authority comes from me. Even if they have committed sins and crimes previously, if they repent from that, if they repent from that and then accept your authority over them, then treat them. And that emphasized form is there. Treat them with so much goodness that they know what a just ruler is like. Treat them with that exaggeration percolates to the word husnan, to treat them with beautiful and good conduct. But the English is not sufficient to capture that connotation. To treat them with the beautiful and good conduct, then treat them, that exaggeration is there, that hyperbole is there, and then treat them, leave them, forgive them. They've accepted your authority. Don't treat them with goodness. So when its goodness is reached out to them, the object, them, is mentioned. But when the punishment was mentioned, the object was deliberately omitted. You get the point? So treat them with goodness, but punish, you have the authority, but hold on, give them a fair trial. Got it? Okay, so treat them with beautiful and good conduct. I think I've tried to cover everything. I just forgot that meticulous was one word. There was one word which sort of captures his planning and execution. I'm just forgetting it. I can't help it. Anyway, but we have understood the Arabic. As long as we do that, that's fine. English is secondary. English is never a core part of the discussion. We're using it so as to have a common language with which to convey and with which you may understand. That's it. That's the purpose. Nothing more than that. So yeah, one last part. Ainin hamiyatin. So Maghrib al-Shamsi, the direction is also now clear. It's the westward journey. The westward journey. Maghrib, by the way, I mean, it's using both the connotations in our day-to-day language, in a daily language usage. We use Maghrib for Maghrib Salah, which means the time, and we refer to the direction Maghrib, which means the west, both. So be sensible in your translations. Don't give them an opportunity. It's not even giving them an opportunity. You are not doing justice to the translation, and hence an opportunity arises for them to criticize. That is what is happening. So, Ainin hamiyatin, a dark water body, a black water body, and it's not by accident that we have the Black Sea. It's not by accident. It's not by chance. Nothing happens by chance. Among all the seas in the world, there's just one sea which is referred to as the Black Sea, because the color of the water in that sea is black, hamiyatin. Then this verse gives you a geographical indicator hint. If you need to find the wall of Zulkarnain, do that. Don't find it in Mars and in space and in North Pole and all sorts of nonsense. Whether you are whatever, a scholar, a pseudo-scholar, a philosopher, or any other nonsensical being, I don't care. Take the cues from the Quran. It gives historical cues, it gives geographical cues. You need to use your cues. You need to be sensible to decode all of this. And then there are the evidences, of course. We'll cover all of that. So except for that one English word, which is sort of nagging me now, which I thought was a good word to give, but I've just lost it. Anyway, but I have done full justice to the Arabic construct, so that doesn't really matter. I'll probably give it in the next session if I'm able to recollect, or else we'll proceed with verse number 87. So that's it then. So we'll read the Arabic, but when we translate the English, we'll connect it from the previous verse. So let's read the Arabic. That verse was short anyway. فَأَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغَ مَغْرِبَ الشَّمْسِ وَجَدَهَا تَغْرُبُ فِي عَيْنٍ حَمِيَةٍ وَوَجَدَ عِنْدَهَا قَوْمًا قُلْنَا يَا ذَا الْقَرْنَيْنِ إِمَّا أَن تُعَذِّبَ وَإِمَّا أَن تَتَّخِذَ فِيهِمْ حُسْنًا. So then he followed away until when he reached the place of his intended destination at the time of sunset. He found the sun as it appeared to him to be setting into a dark water body, to be setting into a Black Sea, the Black Sea. And he found in its vicinity a community. We said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, O Dhul-Qarnayn, you have the authority to either punish or treat them with beautiful and good conduct. And when I read the last part, you should remember all the explanations. Otherwise, this translation is sort of deficient. So that's it. I think I'll just mention one more point. We'll not repeat the translation again. So it's the setting time of the sun, because it's Maghrib Shamsi. But if you arrange that construct that way, the setting time of the sun, it becomes difficult to accommodate the destination, and it is precisely that reason. But the meaning is not getting lost. The Arabic is able to convey, that's what I'm saying. Maghrib Shams, just two words, it's able to convey what it is intending to convey. But in the English language, we're struggling and we are needing so many words to do that. And because I'm not referencing it as the sun, but I'm referencing it as sunset, he found it, because it will not refer back to anything. So I needed that noun, not the pronoun, to be there. He found the sun as it appeared to him to be setting. So I think that was one clarification that I required, that was required to be made, and I made that. So that's it then. We'll proceed with verse number 87 in the next session, inshallah.